Abyssolossus, Season 3 Endgame Boss. In this video I'm going to explain you how to defeat this boss and the 6 teams I'm using so you can use it as well to do a lot of damage. Hello guys, I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day, and in this video I'm showing you the new boss, the endgame boss Abyssolossus, and let's have a look at his skills and how you can do a lot of damage on this boss. He's a bit tricky, but let's just do a quick overview of these skills. So firstly, accuracy, we need 320, which is a lot. You really need a good gear with good substats to reach this accuracy, and good artifacts as well. Then the recommended resistance is 320. This boss does a lot of debuffs, so it's also hard to get that 320. So let's have a look at the skills. So firstly, we have the damage reduction. So this boss, every time he gets one of these stacks, takes 5% less damage. So he gains one stack and is undispellable. Each time one of the heroes does skill damage, is getting one of these stacks. So he will be really tricky to do a lot of damage. Next one, we get the Rust Poison, and this one I will talk while I'm showing my teams because it's much easier to explain, but basically all your characters will get this poison, and if they are together nearby each other, they're gonna receive more damage because each time they reach 20 stacks is going to deal necrotic damage, and every time this effect is triggered, the damage will increase by 25%. So if your characters are placed together, they're gonna receive more damage, and also when he's casting this skill, he's going to give some more of these seeds of rust poison. So then he's immune to all control and ultimate down effects. He deals necrotic damage on his first skill. He deals defense penalty and necrotic damage on this skill. So this one, if you want, you can use some debuff immunity or debuff dispelling with one of your characters to remove this defense penalty. Another thing is that it says 12 seconds, guys, but 12 seconds is when this boss starts doing the animation. So the defense penalty is not going to be applied at 12 seconds, it's going to be applied around 14 to 15 seconds. Then we have this one that deals necrotic damage to all enemies twice, so, and each time is going to dispel one buff. So if you are getting any buffs before this, is going to dispel 2 of them, and additionally is going to give buff prohibition, so your characters will have buff prohibition, so you can't really cast any buffs on yourself unless you dispel all of these debuffs. And another thing will be the same thing as this skill, so it says 18 seconds, but is when the animation starts. Actually is going to give that buff prohibition, is going to apply it at 20 seconds. So at 30, probably your characters still have the buff prohibition on if you didn't dispel it. Then we have this one, this skill that does some more necrotic damage, is the one that releases Seed of Rust Poison, so it's going to increase the seeds, and it's going to give healing reduction and shield prohibition, so don't use any shields after this or any healing because it's not gonna work so well. And finally, he's going to do necrotic damage 4 times, and if he's eating enemies without buffs, he's going to reduce their ultimate energy by 30%, and enters this fragility state that increases the damage taken by 200%. So basically you have several options to work with this boss, and the easiest one is the one that everyone is using, basically is to cast all your damage skills at 30 seconds, because around this time is when the boss gets the fragility, so you can do more damage without having a hero to dispel all your debuffs before this ultimate, because to prevent this ultimate energy by 30%, you need someone that dispels this buff prohibition and then someone that casts some buffs, and this way you're not gonna have your ultimate energy reduced by 30%. So all of my teams, I'm using completely different strategies, so I'm using like what most of the people is using. I'm casting my damage skills on the 30 seconds, but let's have a look at my teams. Will be much easier to explain all of this. So before everything, I just want to explain you something, guys. I did a lot of tests, and the thing here is you can position your heroes in several ways. Some people they position it like this, and then this hero will be the one taking more of this rust potion, and he's going to take more damage, and eventually if he's taking more of those stacks he will get faster to 20 and it will spread damage to all of your characters, so everyone is going to take damage over and over again. So ideally getting your characters nearby is not a good option. Like if they are all one tile away, they're gonna take some more damage and get some more of these rust seed stacks. So ideally what you want to do is to keep them at least 2 tiles away. Something like this. You want to keep them spread, this way they are not spreading any damage to each other, so at least 2 tiles will be 1, 2, or if it's like this will be 1, 2 as well. If it's like this, it's going to spread the damage and those stacks as well, and we don't want that. We want to reduce the damage as possible, so that's why this boss is a little bit tricky, because not everyone has those supports that can heal all over the area. I mean, those are the best ones, like this one, Finja, she's really good. She gives resistance up and heals all the team. So this is the area of the damage that she does with the ultimate, but the healing is all over the battlefield, which is really good and really helpful. So I already tried a lot of things. I did something like this. So let's position these heroes. So I tried like this before, or like this, no, like this. And I mean, using a tank set on this one, like a puppeteer, and then a tank set on this guy or something like that. But it doesn't really work well, because these two will be taking a lot of damage and eventually Durango will die pretty soon. Even with the attack penalty from Gardus will not help that much. So with this, let's talk about all my teams. I think I already explained the strategy, and this team is the one that is against the rules. So, and that's why, because of Nathaniel. So this team, this is my first team. They are doing a really good damage, and basically I have Nathaniel, and Nathaniel is really good for this boss, because he has this battle skill which he casts every almost 10 seconds that will dispel one debuff from allies and gives them recovery over time. This boss does a lot of debuffs, so with this guy will be healing them all the time, which is really good. So I have him with Puppeteers, so he's giving this passive to everyone, so defense up equal 15% of the wearer's defense. And then I have Phantom Down with this Ancestral Protection to take some of the damage as well. If you want, if you really have a good gear, you can replace Phantom Down for another Dauntless hero. I already tried that, and it didn't work well, because on this team, since they are together, I mean, I have 3 melees, so the problem here is that this skill here, okay, it only works this way, and the problem is I only have one ranged hero, so I have no option. I have really no option, because I have 3 melees. If I place it like this, will not work. So no, I already tried something different, and with a third, a fourth Dauntless, and was not working well. So I let it like this because it's working well. They are surviving the full 8 minutes, so I don't see any reason to change this. I'm using this aura 24%, and let's have a look. So I'm getting this healing, okay, and then I'm getting the shield as well with defense up from this guy. It's really good. I have this artifact helping a lot. I have the Moonlight that has this 50% chance to increase the shield. I have a Puppeteer set with some enlightenment. As you guys can see, I have a lot of enlightenment. The shield increases with enlightenment, and for him that's it. Then for Phantom Down will be the one applying the defense penalties, so he will cast this ultimate every 1 second for 8 seconds. So he will be casting an attack penalty over and over again, and also will apply this defense penalty 100%. That is going to do that. And basically it's that for him. Then we have Suta with this downpipe organ. So I got this one. If you get the dope, this is really good to increase your damage. If you don't have this, of course, use one of those epic artifacts. So it will be like Manticore, this one or this one are your main options. to deal some more damage. But if you have this one, it's really good. For Shelter, of course, will be completely different. And for Suta, I'm using a Rhapsody set. For these guys, it's really good. Dauntless team is really good against this boss. All the single target damage dealers are really good for this boss. Then we have Shelter. With Shelter, I'm using this Unclean Bloodline, which are the sets that is ideal for derivate damage dealers. So I'm using attack percentage here. So make sure if you have, so I'm using crit rate on this guy because I mean it really works better with crit rate, and I don't have any of these this mythic with crit rate. I'm very unlucky. I've been farming a lot. I only get attack percentage. So crit rate for Suta and the other guy will be really good. And I'm using the Vilink that will increase my derivate damage. Then I will be using Tarivol. Tarivol will be my damage dealer. I've got the lamp. This does a lot of damage, helps a lot my Tarivol to increase my damage. And on this guy I'm using this crit damage. Gauntlet is the best the option I have since I don't have crit rate. And I try to get a lot of crit rate as substats, as you guys can see. Then crit damage, a Rhapsody set, and this team will work pretty well. Last thing, let's just have a look at my timings. So basically, I have Suta using the ultimate at 30 seconds. I have this one using at 29. I have Phantom Down using at 29. And then I am using Shelter will be using at 28. I mean, it's up to you. I using at 28 because I just want them to start doing this damage earlier, and basically that's it. If you want, I just want to use the defense penalty at least before they start doing their skills, just to make sure he's casting his defense, is applying the defense penalty before they start doing some damage. For Torivol, it's a bit different because this ultimate is not just a single damage ultimate, it's going to be doing some damage for 12 seconds with this ultimate. For Nathaniel, as you guys can see, I'm not using any timing because it's working well. Like this doesn't really make any difference for using any timings. The biggest deal about Nathaniel is really the battle skill, and then he's going to give some shields as well, so he's really good, as you guys can see. So with lightning, I did 82, almost 22 million damage with this team, and with that placement. I don't advise that placement, is really tricky. And as you guys can see, my Suta and I mean these three Dauntless, they did so much damage. Around 20 million each, 29 million, 28 million. So it's really good. They did really good damage, so let's check out the next team. So the next team I have to talk about is a wild team with Garius, which is really good. So I have 4 wild heroes. If you don't have these heroes, the same thing with Dauntless. You can use the same strategy if you have Nathaniel. The Nathaniel is the most important hero on that team. So let's just, I didn't talk about this, but if you have Nathaniel, you just need to use another 3 Dauntless heroes and it will work as well. So some attack penalty as well to reduce some of the damage, but Nathaniel is the main character, the more important character on that team. On this one is Garius. Garius is really good, and especially if you have this stuff. This stuff, everyone knows this stuff is really important for Garius, and is going to help a lot to increase his healing and everything, and I'll talk about that. So first one, we have Felicity. Felicity with the downpipe organ. You can use eyeball or another epic artifact you have, or legendary. With a real set, this set is the, so I'm gonna use a real set for all the other teams, just for Rhapsody, just for Dauntless teams, and everyone else I'm using a real is the one doing more damage. So all the sets will be exactly the same. I did some plans with the real sets, and basically I'm just switching over characters. They are using all the same sets because it's the ones with the best substats and stats. And yeah, will be this one. So it's the same set I was using on Tarivol. Then on Tunnelman, I'm using the Ravatrix roots. It's really good for him. I'm using the same set I was using on Suta. Some damage as well. I mean, it's not the same set because it's Aerial, it's the same mythic. Then on Erich, it's a set full AD and with some accuracy as well. I don't have 330 because I don't have good stats for accuracy, but he's the best I could get. But he's still applying some attack penalty because he casts these 5 times, so will be 5 chances to apply defense penalty. Then I have Nida with the eyeball and another aerial set with some attack percentage as well and a little bit of crit rate, and she's a really good wild rare that you can use. She does a good amount of damage. And now the main thing here, you can use whatever you want for DPS. Garius is the one that you can't replace him, and for him will be a bit different. So if you have the gatekeepers, you're gonna use a different strategy. Let's check the timings. So Garrus does not have a time because sometimes with this artifact, giving this skill haste and everything, sometimes he's already casting on 18 seconds time, and sometimes he can cast twice his ultimate over the boss, the cycle of the skills of the boss, the 30 seconds, he can cast it twice. So that's why I don't have a timing on him, but that's because I'm using the gatekeeper stuff. And basically just try to get as much defense you can, defense percentage, and I just need to swap this here. So here, I can't swap this here, yeah, so because I don't have any chests, and Mona Lisa chests with defense percentage. So as you guys can see, so if you have a Mona Lisa blessing with defense percentage, use it because will increase there's 50% chance to increase the shield, and I'm just using this one because I don't have it. I don't have any Mona Lisa chests with defense percentage. That's the only reason for that. So the important thing here, I didn't need to have any timing because sometimes we'll be casting his ultimate twice, so I only have him, and then I have 30 seconds on Felicity, 30 seconds, 28 on him because I want to give him some time to apply the defense penalty, and this way they will be casting their skills on the 30 seconds, and the boss will have the 200% increased damage because of this fragility thing, and basically this is it. And with a crit damage, if you feel like you are taking too much damage, just switch to defense percentage and your team should survive. So guys, we are finishing now. Everyone survived the full 8 minutes and we did 73 million damage, which is really good. If you don't have the stuff, then you need to set a timing. Forget that, you don't need to, because he can dispel himself of all the buffs with debuffs, and with this he's not going to get the ultimate, the reduced ultimate energy, and that's why sometimes he casts his ultimate twice. With this, let's check the next team. So next team we have a Ice Blast team. So we have 4 Ice Blasts, 1 healer. You don't really need a tank for this boss. Most of the damage is area damage, so you should be fine if you have a strong healer. So let's have a look. We have Sheena. So again, you can use 4 Ice Blast heroes that you have. I think the only problem about using 4 Ice Blasts is... No, I don't think you'll be alright, because these 3 are ranged characters. So you have 4 here, you can use 4. And if you have one of the legendaries, even better. So let's go, let's check this guy. So this is Sheena. I'm using the rail set. Now all the sets will be the same as before. So this one will be full with accuracy. I have 330, the quantity that you need, with the witches remain, and some attack percentage with this mythic, the Carnage gloves. Then Curtin, I'm using this artifact. If you have a chance to get the dope, ice dope, get this artifact. It's so good, increase your damage so much. It's really good. I advise you to get it. If not, use a Ravatrix, and if you don't have Ravatrix, use the Manticore or the Eyeball. But for these guys, Ice Blast, the Manticore is really good. So this set is the set with crit damage and some substats as crit rate. Then we have Bleeding, this one with a Ravatrix, because I have the other artifact for Gertin. She does a lot of damage. And this set is with crit rate, has a lot of crit rate, a little bit of crit damage, and that's it. And lastly, we have Zorak, this one with derivate damage, the same gear I was using on Charlotte. Crit damage here, some HP, and basically this is it. This crit damage here is not doing much. You can use attack or something like that because this guy is not going to do any crit rates because of this artifact. And lastly, and the most important character here, again, the healers are really important here, is the Fenja. So, as I said at the beginning, she does this area damage, but actually she's going to heal everyone over the battlefield, which is really good. So for that reason, she's going to be the healer and the tank, using this ancestral set, reducing 15% of the damage on all my heroes, and I'm giving her a lot of enlightenment because the enlightenment increases my healing. And then I'm using this artifact, the horn. If you don't have the horn, you can use the mirror or something like that. The horn is really good, especially for her, because she heals, is not overtime, but she heals more than once. So it's really good. She's going to give these stacks of damage to all my heroes, which will be really good. So for the timings, for Sheena, I have 28 seconds, so I want to give her some time to apply the defense penalty. She will be casting this ultimate average 0.5, so she will apply defense penalty for sure. Then we have Blending at 30 seconds, Gertin at 30 seconds, and then this guy at 29, but will be really tricky because I want everyone to have this damage up before actually doing damage at 30 seconds. And this is tricky because of the buff prohibition. The buff prohibition will lastly to 30, but luckily I have Fenja, and Fenja will give this resistance up, so sometimes my characters will not have buff prohibition on them, and this way they will have this damage up on them, which will help a lot to do some more damage. And Fenja doesn't have any timings because it's working well like this. So let's go. I'm using Aura 24%, and let's do one more fight. So guys, one more fight finished. Everyone survived the full 8 minutes, which is really good, and we did 85 million damage with this team, which is really good. We already have, I'm actually doing the fights as I'm doing this video. We already have 155 million damage, so let's go to the next one. So next team we have will be again Ice Poison team, and this one will be Frost damage dealers. So I have 3 Frost, and then I have a healer and another support because just with one healer was not enough. I need some more support to keep everyone alive, and that's the reason why I have 2 healers, because I already used the strong ones, so I need to start using something else. So let's go, let's check the heroes I have. So I have Auster, is a really good Frost damage healer. As before, you can use different Frost damage dealers. You have Usha, she's really good. Let's have a look what Frost healers we have. So we have a lot of them. This guy, Rava, she's really good as well. I'm not using this one because I don't have any scrolls on him. Usha is really good. Vidimir, there's a lot of Frost characters you can use. Or more budget ones that you can use. So, Auster with the downpipe organ, and all of these characters will have a little bit of accuracy because I want to have a tiny chance to inflict this frost, because this frost will increase the damage on these frost characters. But on this one I have crit damage, I have the sets with good crit rate substats. I don't have so much on this guy, but I have a lot of crit damage, which with this set will increase my attack. Then I have Drist. Drist will be the one with a lot of accuracy. I have 333 accuracy on him, and which just remains so because he attacks 3 times with his ultimate, so will be 3 chances to inflict that defense penalty, and that's why I have witches remain on him. Then on Shadir, so on him I have the Rift Hourglass. You guys will understand why, because he's really fast. He 15.9 to cast his ultimate, so on him he's going to cast his ultimate twice every round of this boss. I have a real set with a lot of accuracy as well, guys, because I want him to inflict some of this frost with these skills to increase the damage from my Oster. Then I have Vikuk with Ancestral Set and Mirror of the Living is going to dispel the defense penalty. I'll talk about that when I show you the timings. And then Aladia, the new legendary from the last event, she's really good supporting our characters. I have a lot of enlightenment on her, and she does a lot of shields. She gives a lot of shields. So one last thing, I'm using Puppeteer on this character. So at the first time, she will give this extra healing 20% with this set. But if you want, you can use the other set from the Rot that will give healing to the characters every time she uses the ultimate. And I'm using the Almister artifact that will increase my shields. And that's it. Let's check the timings. So for the timings, I have 28 on Drist to give him some time to inflict that defense penalty. I have 30 on Auster, and then on this guy 13.5. So he will be casting his buffs here, and then we'll be casting around here. So we'll be cycling every 15 seconds. Then I have this on auto mode, and then this guy Vikuk will be casting 14.5, and that's the reason I said at the beginning. So this defense penalty, it says it will be at 12 seconds, but with the animation will be cast at 14. So I'm going to show you guys on this video at the beginning of the fight. I'll show you when it happens. And a crit damage aura. So let's start the fight, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So supposedly the defense penalty will be here. So I don't have any defense penalty yet. So the boss is doing the animation now, and as you guys can see, it's now that I have the defense penalty, and Vikuk dispelled it right away, so it's going to reduce a lot the damage on my heroes. But still, Aladia will help a lot to reduce that damage, because just Vikuk is not enough to heal these guys. On this team, the really important character will be Vikuk. Is reducing a lot of the damage with the healing and dispelling the defense penalty. And so for the Frost heroes, you can replace them for different ones. And for Aladia, if you can use another support, so for this one, probably you're gonna need 2 supports for this boss, or a tank that applies defense penalty to reduce some of the damage. So we have one more team that survived 8 minutes. This one does not do so much damage because we also have just 3 damage dealers, and they don't do that much damage. Just this one hoster does 20 million, this one did 7 and almost 8 on this one. So as you guys can see, it's not that much, so I'm lacking some damage on Frost, and maybe with a better gear, maybe I could afford to have another damage dealer, but I tried it and they were not surviving the full 8 minutes, and for that reason is why I have 2 supports. So this is the team I used. You can use it as well, but just Vikuk is the one that is really important. But Aladia, you can replace it for a different support that provides some more damage mitigation, like attack penalty or shields or something like that. So let's check the next team I have. So my next team is the beautiful Corrosion. So the Corrosion, I only have this legendary, Sacridia, and that's the one I'm gonna use to help some of the damage. So again, I have 2 supports and 3 damage dealers because with 4 was not enough, but this time I have more damage because I have a support and damage dealer at the same time. So I have Downpipe Organ to increase the damage from my Sacridia. I have the set from the team I was using before, so it's the one with crit damage and substats of crit rate. Then on Dargo, I'm using the Eyeball and some substats of crit rate as well, but this one is attack damage. So will be on every DPS I'm using Strike of the Unprepared. On this one I'm using the set with the crit rate and some more damage as well, some more crit damage, and the Rava tricks to increase the damage of this character. Then I have Vorish. Vorish will be the one inflicting the defense penalty. He casts this ultimate 3 times, so will be 3 chances to inflict the defense penalty. I'm using the Moonlight mantle to increase my healing, and with attack percentage here and attack percentage because it's going to give some heal according with attack percentage, 70% of his attack percentage to the ally with the lowest current HP. And then some accuracy because I need at least 330. Then on Sifris, I'm gonna heal basically with the battle skill. I have the Mirror of the Living to increase my healing and my HP as well. I have Ancestral set with HP on both. So on this battle skill, she will consume 10% of the current HP to heal all the other allies. And basically that's the skill that you need. You don't really need to use the ultimate. The ultimate will give defense up too, but when you're using the ultimate, but when you are using the ultimate, your characters will have buff prohibition, so she will not apply this defense up. So you don't really need to use the ultimate. You can use it if you want, but because this ultimate is not healing anyone, she can resurrect and give some defense up. So you don't really need to use the ultimate, she's here just for the battle skill. And then Voresh will be healing Sifris so she doesn't kill herself with this battle skill because she will be consuming 10% of this range HP every almost 10 seconds. And basically that's it. We have this crit damage aura from this rare character, and that's it. If you have different corrosion heroes, I mean, you should have these two, but and this one is really good, this one, and you can use a different one from Sacridia. If you have more legendaries like Rook, that will be amazing. You're gonna be doing millions of damage. Then timings, this one is pretty easy, so 30 to everyone. And just for Voresh will be different because he's the one applying defense penalty, so we'll apply at 28, around 10 to 8 seconds, and then 30 for everyone. And as I said, for Sifris, you don't really need to use the ultimate. If you want, you can deactivate the ultimate and don't use it. Anyway, if you are using the ultimate and if you apply the defense penalty, will be fine because Voresh will give some support and will give the healing to Sifris because she will be the one always on the low HP. So let's start this fight and see how much damage I'm gonna do. So one more fight done. This one we did 72 million damage, almost 73 million damage. Corrosion is really good to do some damage, and if you have more corrosion characters it's even better because you can create two teams. So this was the 5th fight, let's go, we just have one more fight ahead. Last team will be Poison, and this one will not be one of the best teams I have at the moment. I don't have Twitch fully scrolled, but it's still 3 legendaries, but they are not doing much damage because I don't have the best gears on them. I still need to try to farm a little bit more and see if I get any luck with better stats and great red gloves. But on these ones it's not really important because especially these two, they work with accuracy and enlightenment. So Jetalia with downpipe organ, then the real set with the crit damage gloves. Then we have Durango, which remains and a lot of accuracy and crit rate as well because is some of these skills improve with crit rate, and there you go. So it's as a 40% chance of inflicting 1 stack of poison when it triggers a critical hit. Then we have Twitch with the slingshot and accuracy as well because he increases damage if the character has poison, so I want to inflict stacks. Basically I want to inflict as much stacks as I can because then I will use Jetalea with this ultimate, and the ultimate will do more damage if I have more stacks of poison on this boss. And then I have 2 supports. I tried just with one, they were not surviving, and I tried with a tank as well, so I had to do this with 2 supports. So I'm using Garion with the enlightenment set. With the puppeteers you can use a different one, and with the horns because he heals with his ultimate over time, so they will be getting these stacks of damage. And then Exandra, I'm using this everlasting diamond. If you don't have it, you can use a mirror or something like that. I have another on her. I have an ancestral set because on the ultimate she doesn't hit any enlightenment or anything. The enlightenment just for this battle skill, but you will be the one taking 15% of the damage that the other characters will be taking. So basically I have 2 supports, 3 poison characters. This also works with Lorentel. So here Chatalaya is the legendary, really important. You can use different 2 supports. If you are using 2 supports, you should be alright. Just if you are just using 1 support, then it needs to be really strong to be able to support all the team. So, and I'm using this accuracy aura. So let's go, let's check how much damage I can do with this team. So guys, the last fights finished, and this was it. So 50 million, I did a total of 352 million. So let's save it and check what is the final rank that we have. For this team, the placement was completely different because the range of the target area of the healing of these 2 healers is completely different. That's why they have a different placement. So let's check. So I'm 103 with this damage, but I mean the competition is really wild, guys, really wild. Especially if you don't have Rook, it's gonna affect you a lot, because if you have Rook, as you guys can see, like these guys are doing billions of damage, which is a lot. So this one, let's check. So this one is doing 1 billion, more than 1 billion damage, 1 billion, 1 billion. So this first 5 is 1 billion on my server. These ones are almost 1 billion. I'm pretty sure they have Rook. You need to have Rook. You have to have Rook to do a lot of damage. And then we have a lot of 5 millions. So this is just to give you a overview of the top ranking, and me here with 352 million. So if you have better characters, of course, use it. If you have better gear, use it. I only have attack percentage for the Savage gloves, Carnage gloves, so it's not the best ones you can use. Some characters work better with crit rate. This was just to show you how you can work with this boss, the damage that you can do and the damage that you are aiming to do, and how you can do. So as you guys can see, I did 80 million damage. Is a really good number to do on this boss. I think this one I really need to improve. 38 million is not that much. Of course, if you are completely free to player and you don't care about the ranking, you just want to hit 200 million. Of course, there's a lot of free to play teams you can use, or more budget teams that you can use. As you can see, guys, Corrosion is really good. 72 million damage with just 1 legendary, 2 rare, 1 rare and 3 epics. And this team with 3 legendaries, or this one with 4, is not doing so well. So as you guys can see, the one with 4 legendaries is not doing so well. Frost is really hard to handle. You need a lot of accuracy, and with this you lose some damage. And so basically this is it. This is my guide relating this boss and how you can achieve at least 200 million damage, and to show my teams as well and the strategy for this boss. So let's just have a look. I'm just gonna have a last look at the teams I'm using. So will be these ones. Okay, it's really good that you have a really good support, especially for these teams. If you have a support like this, or Garius or Nathaniel, then you just need one. But if you don't have a support healing over all the battlefield, then you maybe will need 2 supports like these 2 or these 2 to help deal with the damage from this boss. And all of his buffs and debuffs is really tricky to handle, guys. So if you have any question, if you still don't know how to deal with this boss, so if you have any question and you don't know how to defeat this boss or reach 200 million damage, just make sure pop up on my Discord. I'm happy to help everyone. I will do an Excel file that I will leave on my Discord with the team's gear and timings I was using on this boss, this endgame boss. So if you have any other question, if you still don't know how to do it, just come to my Discord and I'm happy to help you. And basically this is it, guys. I hope you guys can do millions and millions damage. I'll be even happy if you can do 1 billion damage, guys. And make sure to leave that like and subscribe on my channel, because it helps me a lot and supports me to bring more and better content to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.